Which is the single best American state to vacation in and why? 97.3 million visitors, according to the Tampa Bay Times. That's how many people the state of Florida attracted in 2014. Of course, of those people, about 11.5 million were from overseas and about 4 million were from Canada. Sure, there's many great single destinations to visit in the U.S., from Times Square in New York City to our own Yellowstone National Park here in Wyoming, but no state offers more year-round than the Sunshine State. Florida proves every year to be a top destination due to its mild temperatures, diversity in attractions, and its unique geography. The climate of Florida is a humid subtropical climate, meaning that it is a wet climate as compared to other states, but the humidity also regulates the air temperature well, meaning Florida does not experience heat waves or freezes or any real extremes in temperature. Throughout the year, Florida's temperature has very little fluctuation. It only fluctuates about 30 degrees year-round. In the northern part of the state, the highs are from about the low 60s to the low 90s, and the lows are in the low 40s to the low 70s. When you go down south to the furthest south part of the state, like the Keys, the highs are from the mid 70s to the high 80s, and the lows are only in the low 60s to the mid 70s, offering about 10 to 15 to 20 degrees fluctuation. The rainy season in Florida is from May to October, and the dry season is from October to April. And although the state does receive about 40 to 60 inches of rainfall per year, most of that comes in the summertime, and it's during brief afternoon thunderstorms. So that leaves plenty of time for sunshine. The temperature is very well regulated because of the Gulf Stream, which is a warm water current that flows across the equator and then comes along the eastern coast of the United States. But as it passes through the Straits of Florida, the water temperature is about 55 degrees, and that leaves the climate pretty well regulated in Florida. Like I said, you don't get freezes, and you don't get a whole lot of hot temperatures. Ironically, as far as humidity, the most humid part of the country is typically actually more in the north and the Midwest when it counts. During the middle of the day, the most humid part of the country is actually going to be Milwaukee, Wisconsin, far from Florida, or someplace like Rochester, Buffalo, New York, where the humidity stays high in the middle of the day when it's actually when you have your peak temperatures, and it can make it seem the hottest. There's a lot to do when visiting Florida. There's a lot of theme parks in Florida and a lot of other attractions. If you like to fish, you can do it pretty much anywhere in the state. Anywhere from game fishing along the coastal waterways, the bays, and the estuaries, to freshwater fishing along the thousands of creeks, streams, canals, and rivers. And you can simply throw a line off a lot of beaches or docks or bridges in a lot of places in the state. And I would suggest offshore or deep sea fishing. It gives you the true experience of being on the water in Florida, and you also get to see a lot more wildlife apart from what you're trying to catch, whether it be rays or sharks or dorado, sailfish, kingfish. You'll also see stuff like manatees, dolphins, porpoise. You can also see alligators along the coastline too, along some freshwater estuaries and deltas and stuff like that. If you don't like water, I wouldn't recommend going to Florida. There's also dozens of theme parks. You have your big ones in Orlando, the central hub of theme parks in Florida, where you have your Walt Disney World Resort, including Epcot, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Blizzard Beach, along with Universal, which includes the Universal Orlando Resort and the Universal's Islands of Adventure. There's also a Legoland Florida resort in Winter Haven, Florida. You also have SeaWorld of Orlando. And then there's also some attractions in the Tampa Bay area, including Busch Gardens of Tampa Bay, Adventure Island. And there's also a lot of theme parks down in the southeastern coast of Florida in the Miami Beach Gardens area. If you like sports, there's plenty of pro sports teams in Florida. You have the Orlando Magic. In the Tampa Bay area alone, you have the Tampa Bay Lightning, a pro hockey team. You have the Buccaneers, a pro football team. The Tampa Bay Rays play baseball. In Miami, you have the Miami Heat, they play basketball. The Miami Dolphins. You have the Miami Marlins. You also have the Florida Panthers down there. And then, of course, there's plenty of Division I sports if you want to watch any of that with universities like Florida State University, University of Florida in Gainesville, the University of Miami, also University of Central Florida in Orlando, and South Florida in Tampa, along with Florida Atlantic, Florida International, Florida Gulf Coast, and Fort Myers. It depends on what you want to do. There's also plenty of seaports for any cruises you may take, or probably Florida is going to be a port of call for many of your cruise destinations. As far as the geography of Florida, like I said, if you don't like water, don't go to Florida. It contains about 7,000 lakes. The second largest freshwater inland lake in the U.S. is in Florida, Lake Okeechobee, down in the Everglades. The peninsula, Florida is a peninsula, meaning it's surrounded by at least three sides by water. And Florida has 1,197 miles of coastline, including 663 miles of beaches. At any one time, you're not going to be more than 60 miles from a beach. And some popular ones are going to be Miami Beach, which is very popular, Daytona Beach, home of Bike Week. The Tampa and St. Petersburg area are full of great beaches. Also, the Sarasota, Bradenton area. Also in the Panhandle, we have Destin, Florida, Panama City Beach, Florida, and also, of course, the Florida Keys down south, which are a set of islands that run south. If you'd like, you can visit the largest city in the contiguous 48 states, which is actually Jacksonville, Florida, and also the oldest city in the United States, which is St. Augustine, which was founded in 1856. So if you are looking to take in a vacation, I would personally recommend Florida. I've spent a lot of time down there and even lived there, and even when you live there, it almost feels like you're always on vacation.